Let's now talk all things Oando. I'm actually joined this morning by Wole Famurewa, CNBC Africa's Wole Famurewa. Wole, tell us about Oando. Talk Oando.
Yes, absolutely, Didi. Like you did mention during the top stories there, it is indeed a historic result. Let's just run through some of the numbers. Right, so revenues were down to 424 billion naira. But the big story, of course, has to be around the loss, like you mentioned, the 183.9 billion naira, a record loss. The only company that I know that has reported a loss worse than this is the former Oceanic Bank, which of course was one of the several distressed banks in Nigeria way back in 2008, 2009. So this is a big deal. And as you can imagine, analysts, investors are crying out and expecting explanations. And of course, the big discussion point has to be administrative expenses. And we'll bring you some details on what that comprises of. And here you go. Here you have it. What are these administrative expenses? And that is what I think a lot of investors are looking for clarity for. But what we can see from the 2013 account is that some of those numbers include things like foreign exchange losses, provisions for impairments, and indeed that is the story this time around. The decline in oil prices has hit Oando in a very big way. So we've seen, like many other companies that we've seen in Nigeria, major losses relating to the decline in the value of the naira. But on top of that, we are seeing impairment charges. And the CEO, Wole Tinubu, was at the stock exchange speaking to stockbrokers last week. And he did mention something, because another big story around this is the big delay, the huge delay in the release of the results. The results were expected to have been released way back in April, and were only released last week, and everyone is trying to explain why. He did say then that there is no doubt we cannot be excused for the late delivery of the numbers. We accept and we are sorry about the late delivery, but he said, but it is better for us to deliver what is accurate, correct, and full of integrity than to rush and deliver something which is not. Whether or not that explanation is good enough for investors, we'll find out later on. Of course, another story around this, which I think many people should have picked up before now. Oando Energy Resources, which is listed on the Toronto Stock Exchange, should have highlighted the problem that we are seeing today. In April, that company did report its numbers on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and we did see a loss of $320 million, which is about $65 billion. So maybe somewhere around a third of what was reported on Friday, but it did still signify the problems that were coming, and of course we are now seeing that manifestation. Many people are crying foul. They expect the authorities in Nigeria to take action, especially the Securities and Exchange Commission and the Nigerian Stock Exchange, for the late delivery of the numbers, as Oando did not even provide any profit warning given the scale of the losses. Well, of course, we did speak to the CEO, Wole Tinubu, and here's what he had to say about the reasons for the decline in the numbers.